Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hitting Hard. Tonight we have a few topics that definitely have to be discussed tonight. But before I go into that, again, we have Mike, my co-host. Again, I'm Christina here. And I do want to mention, again, just like I mentioned in the last episode, you have Dual Phoenix Live with Jason Brill coming up soon. Those shows are getting lined up for you, so you definitely want to stay tuned to that. We have exciting information coming to you from Dual Phoenix Live. Also, we have the Maple Grove Haunters. They are having their haunt this year. It is one, not the largest, but one of the largest in Ohio. That is happening in East Canton. Again, when things get closer to time, we're going to tell you about the opening day. And maybe we'll give you a sneak peek and tell you about maybe one of the things going on there. You want to stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, Mike, we've got some definite, important topics tonight.
Yeah, but before we start on that, some of the viewers may know that I'm a huge Batman fan. Mm-hmm. It really hurts me to report, but Adam West has passed away.
Yes.
He is no longer with us.
And, I remember watching reruns of the Batman television show growing up as a kid. And I know that he wasn't the first one to have the Batman television show, but nevertheless, he was an icon. He did many things other than just the television show, as well as a voice for the mayor for Family Guy. So he will be missed. He was an icon.
He taught me all my automatopoeias.
Automatopoeias?
Yes.
Okay.
Boom, bop, pow.
Absolutely. Well, the first topic I do want to bring up to you and I do want to discuss, it did happen in Canton, Ohio. It is still currently going on, and that's exactly why I'm bringing it up, because it is local news. I remember many of you out there, you remember when the big thing going on with Bobbicus was happening. Does everybody remember that? Well, apparently what's happening now is that the victim's mother is fighting for an early release for him. Now, this is all according to Canton Repository paper. I was in the news today, front page. They're actually going to cover a 3-day spot for this. One specifically today, which that's what we're first going to talk about. Later on, they're actually going to talk about in the paper, like I said, the third day is actually about how they're treating him in prison, okay? But the second day, as soon as I'm able to pull it up here in the feed, again, this was all in the Canton Repository today. It talks all about it, but this is beyond me, okay? Why is a mother, your child, and your grandchild was killed? Now, the convicted killer is in prison, but you want him out?
And
why?
Yeah, just to clarify for the audience, it's not the murderer's parents that are trying to get them out. It is the victim's
yes,
parents that are trying to get him out, just to clarify.
Now, and I understand in the article, if you read today's paper and you've seen it, because I know a lot of people who get the Canton Repository read it or have read it, but what happens is that she's going on the article, it's saying how she recently went back to being Christian and she believes she has to forgive. And I understand that and I respect that you have to forgive in order to move on.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, this is your daughter's killer. And your grandchild. You want him out? Why?
Yeah, just to point out to people, I've read the Bible through and through multiple times. It says you are supposed to forgive. Thou shalt not judge, etc., etc. Here's the thing, folks. We have a federal judge that put him in. You're not the one that judged him. You can forgive him and him still be in prison. He did a punishable crime that should not go unnoticed. You can forgive him for it, but keep him locked up. Teach him the lesson.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, because how horrible this is. I mean, the whole long, drawn-out process, if anybody remembers, and if you have something to add to this, please comment, because this is troubling to me as a parent, how you can go from going, okay, well, you killed my daughter, but I think you should get out. No! No, 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 no! Okay, I forgive you for killing her. That was wrong. I have to accept it. I have to deal with it to move on. Absolutely. But as a police officer who was a respected individual in Canton City, who had people's trust every day, and then you did something like this, and then the victim's mother wants you out now when you've got 30 years to life? No. You are where you should be. For one, you killed her. For two, you lied about it. Three, you went on a hunt to help find her when you knew where she was the entire time? I don't think so. No. No. Stay there.
Yeah, not punishing somebody for a crime is basically telling them, oh, it's okay, it happened, you lied about it, but hey, eventually we caught you, but you know what, it's cool, you can go be a normal part of society just like all the other psychos out there.
Right, we'll just give you a slap on the wrist and you'll be on your way. It'll be okay, Johnny.
Right.
It's okay. We forgive you. No.
I don't understand it.
I don't either. I mean, especially, when you're a parent, and I'm not saying anything about the people who are not parents out there, but when you are a parent, you have a different perspective of things. One is because you have to protect your child. That's the utmost importance, is protecting your child. Of course, making sure they grow up right and all that, yes, but you have to protect your child. So when something like this comes up, where you have a grown child who is pregnant with a baby, and then they get killed, and then you go and I just don't get it. Maybe it's not something for me to get.
I know I can't fathom it. Yeah, I think it just goes back to what I've said many, many times before, which is this entire society is becoming a bunch of powder puffs. We try to conform to people's feelings, to their emotions, to their physical whatevers. The thing of it is that some people don't deserve that. And I know that the whole big thing in today's society is equality, 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 equality. And I'm all for equality, but there's a difference between everybody being equal and us having to conform for them to be equal. There's a huge fucking difference. Because I'm sorry, but I don't want to be right next to a serial killer at my local grocery store, not knowing whether or not I'm going to get stabbed to death. All because we're trying to promote equality, and because he has some sort of physical or mental problem going on, I should be okay with that.
And that's the thing, because like I just mentioned, today they're talking in the paper. If you haven't gotten the paper, you want to know what we're talking about, go ahead, get the Canton Repository. Tomorrow they're going to look at the personal journey Porter has taken as a mother to Blake, the child, raising him from a toddler to a 12-year-old. And then honoring the memory of Jessie. Of course, that was a girl that was killed. And then trying to create a relationship between the young boy and his father. Of course, that's Bobbicus, who is in jail. And then Tuesday, like I said, this is a 3-day spiel they're doing in the Canton Repository. Tuesday, they're going to look at Kat's life at Marion Correctional Institution and how inmates treat the former Canton City police officer. Now, as you can imagine, former Canton City police officer who's put many criminals away, I'm sure has not been treating very kindly.
I'm sorry, but if what he did was a norm, then I don't think he probably locked up too many bad people. But
right.
Anyway, we do have to move on. So now we're going to move on to something that I personally love to talk about, our Mr. President Trump. Now,
yes,
I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard what's been going on in the news with him and our former FBI director, Mr. Comey. Now, in one of the conferences that they had, President Trump did hug Comey which is the picture that you see right now, and whispered something into his ear, and there's been a long battle with them since that's been just kind of run into the ground. But what some of you may or may not have heard is that Mr. Comey has come out and testified to, I believe it was the Supreme Court, and has basically said that Trump said a bunch of stuff to him, and one of the major things that they really stuck with was that Comey said that Mr. Trump told him and pulled him into the Oval Office and said, "You must pledge allegiance to me." Trump said that to Comey. Later, Trump came out and said, "I never said that." And when questioned whether or not he would go under oath and testify that no, he never said that, he said that he would. Now, the reason that that's important is because if he gets caught at this point, which he may because he says he may or may not have tapes of those conversations, if he gets caught lying under oath, guess what? Impeachment.
It's grounds for impeachment, folks. Now, I'm not saying that, he's going to get impeached.
No.
It all depends on what he does, what they have to back up the story between Comey. And at this point, I'm calling it a story because that's exactly what it is. We don't actually know what happened.
No.
We can say, okay, this is what we've heard. This is my opinion on it. And that's exactly why we have this show. So you can give your opinions. But, as far as if that did happen, and he has the tapes to prove that, then Trump's basically going to be up against a wall and going,
yes.
Okay, well, now I have to come out with it, and now I have to tell the truth because that's all there is.
And the Supreme Court did tell Trump that if he did have the tapes, he had to come out with them. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. This is not a dramedy TV show. This isn't reality TV. No, he must come out with them if he does have them, is what they said.
Because, if anybody, you remember the Pledge of Allegiance, you're pledging your allegiance to the flag of the United States. You're not putting your allegiance towards and everything towards one man. Yes, he is the president, and yes, he is the head of the state, so to speak, because he is the president.
He represents the people, not...
Yes.
Yeah.
The people of the United States.
That's what he's supposed to represent.
Yes, and from this aspect, what I'm coming away from it is that he's trying to put the allegiance towards him instead of the people.
Right.
And that's not what that office is for. You're not, yes, they have to protect him because he's representing the people of the United States, but not that he's some sort of a king or things to that matter. Because it's a different type of leadership. But that's something that is very serious. Because if he has the tapes, he has to say, yes, I did this. Because if he goes on there and lies about it, that's grounds for immediate impeachment.
Correct. And in all honesty, so far, I believe that his reign as president has been more of a monarchy than a democracy. I understand that there's always ways to get around everything, but he's talking about how he hates that President Obama did this, President Obama did that, and yet he's doing the same exact things. For instance, when President Obama first got elected, he tweeted, and I understand this is social media, everybody says stupid stuff on it, but it is still very, very relevant. He said that he didn't think that Obama should have been elected because he did not win the popular vote, even though he did. And he was only elected president because of the electoral vote. And then later on, what did he do? The same exact thing.
Right. And Sean Shepard actually chiming in saying, I believe Comey did what he thought was best for his country. Plus, Comey said all this under oath to the Senate committee he testified in front of.
And who said that?
Sean Shepard said that.
Sean Shepard, I completely agree with you. And the other thing is that Trump said that 90% of what Comey said was an absolute outright lie, and that he was a squealer, or what do they call that? Somebody that leaks redacted information or classified information, however you prefer to say it, and that the only thing that he did say was true was that Comey told the president that he wasn't under immediate investigation for Russian shenanigans. That's the only thing that Trump did agree with that Comey confessed.
His presidency from the start has been just insane with all the drama from beginning to end. Yeah. It just hasn't stopped yet. And my question is, when will it stop?
As I said earlier, I compared it to a reality TV show, and that's just what it feels like.
And that's pretty much it. I mean,
America Today.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you see all these Trump supporters out there, and I'm not saying I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not saying I'm not. I don't want to state my personal opinion on that. I just choose not to. That's just my personal opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. That's what makes America great. And that's the funny thing, because Trump says he wants to make America great. But yet, he makes all these funny choices, does he not?
I'll tell you 3 right now that he made. For instance, when the Russians were in the Oval Office making these wonderful classified conversations that were supposed to be classified for everybody, but Mr. Trump decided that he'd go ahead and lift those for them, he also made it so that the American media wasn't allowed to be a part of that. That's a little interesting, ain't it? Another neat one that he did was he kind of said, hey, federal databases, global warming doesn't exist, take it out. But, we're supposed to be able to make our own opinions, so why did they take that out?
But yet we've got ice caps melting.
Correct.
Icebergs. Let's figure that one out.
They don't exist either, folks. In all honesty, we just have giant refrigerators up there.
Right.
And you see, it's like an ice tray. You flip the little metal thing, and the icebergs just form. It'll be fine. We can redo it.
You just got to open up the freezer once in a while, because you got to defrost the freezer, right?
Yeah, that's all we're doing right now. Is defrosting.
Okay. But no, seriously. I mean, come on. There's no global warming. What do they call icebergs melting? Are they going to literally call that defrosting the freezer?
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Trump is his businessman. He should stay a businessman. He has
no business in politics. But anyways.
On global warming, that actually leads into our third topic.
Yes, it does.
Would you like to go ahead and announce that one?
Well, that's the thing. I'd actually let you would do that one tonight.
Trump has gone ahead and said that we are going to withdraw from the Paris Environment Accord.
Yes.
Now, what that basically means is that all the regulations that we have on factories for pollution and environmental control are now gone. And he said in a report that I was elected for the people of Pittsburgh.
Actually, he was elected for the people of the United States, but go ahead and continue.
Yes. But this is what he said. And he said that the accord was basically an attack on the sovereignty of the United States. And couldn't really come up with a real good reason as to how? And which leads me to another point. Anytime you ask Mr. President Trump how he's going to do something or why something's going on or whatever, just any information other than the kindergarten response that he gives everybody, it's always, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Oh, don't worry, it's easy, I got this.
Well, Mr. Trump, how are you going to take care of it? You going to throw $1 million at him?
Oh, no, don't worry about this, but I got this.
Well,
we're not going to throw any money at it. We're going to make Mexico pay for it.
Oh, Mexico.
Yes.
Because that's their problem,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
No.
But later on, the mayor of Pittsburgh, whose name I cannot remember right now, did come out and say something along the lines of, actually, these accords are wonderful, and no matter what's going on, we are going to follow them because they've made our city a lot cleaner.
Okay. Well, shouldn't we continue to do them if they're making the cities a lot cleaner? Isn't that for everybody's health benefit? Which means not only will they live longer, but they actually will be able to more, get into society, work as a prominent member of society. Isn't that something that you should do?
I would think so. And folks, in case any of you have forgotten, this should hit really close to home. I don't know if you guys know this little tiny speck of a lake called Lake Erie, but it caught fire a long time ago. Now, the picture we're showing you isn't necessarily Lake Erie because the only pictures that we could find of Lake Erie burning were in black and white, and the quality wasn't too great because it was a long time ago. This is actually in Moscow. However, that's why we have pollution controls. That's why we have environmental controls, people. So that our fucking lakes don't burn. So that our waters, and I'm sorry, but here's another one. I don't remember which states they were in, but there were quite a few states about a year or two ago that had lead in the water. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Yes.
But the water was literally coming out of the spigots black, folks. What do you think getting away from these accords is going to do? I mean, unless the companies, out of their good hearts and good nature, don't exist, it's not going to go well for us, folks. All of our water is going to be just as polluted as the Lake Erie once was. We're not going to have drinking water unless we filter it ourselves. And, oh, buddy, if you actually have a water filtration system in your house, do you realize how mucked up it's going to be because of how much overdrive it's going to have to be going through?
So what you're saying is make sure you get a Brita filter and get plenty of those supplies.
Yeah, make sure you get about 1 million Brita filters because you're going to be going through them pretty damn often. That or learn how to boil the water so that it's drinkable.
Well, I don't even know if some of those cities that have real bad pollution, you can't even drink their water. I mean, you can't. I mean, some cities are questionable in the United States, but we're talking about big businesses. And again, Trump is a big businessman, so he's all about making businesses money. Period. Point blank. That's it.
The new tax laws.
Right.
Sorry, I just had a cough.
Yeah. Would you like to go into it?
No.
No? Okay.
Our segment will be an hour longer than it's supposed to.
Good point. But no, I mean, you got big businesses who are about making money, and if they have to damage a few beaver houses or dams or forests or,
90% of the world's population.
Those things have happened. That's why these things are in place to protect those kinds of things. And if we take that away, what are we going to have? We're not going to have clean water. We're not going to have good air quality. We're not going to have deers around. Oh, you deer hunters out there, you want to hunt deer? Well, guess what? If you have bad quality of an environment, you're not going to have those deer. Why? Because they're going to leave where they need to live to survive.
On the bright side, though, if any of you were looking for a third remake of Mad Max, you're going to get it pretty soon here.
If it keeps continuing. I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, this is not, this is a person that we elected into office. In my opinion, and I'm going to say something quite blunt, and at this point, you know what, give me your opinion on this, and if you disagree, tell me with this. But at this point, we elected a president that, in my opinion, doesn't know what he's doing. He has no clue. And I'm not saying you have to have previous experience on it, but you have to be well informed about what topics you're going on. And it's not just about making America great. When you say making America great, you have to think of the people, the healthcare, the environment, and how are those affecting our future? Not just today, not just to line our own back pockets, but how are we going to live?
Yeah, our leader is quoted as being the leader of the world. Any president is quoted as being the leader of the world. It's not because we lead the world, but it's because we are supposed to think of the world, folks. We're not supposed to think of just America, but the whole entirety of the world. It's the world's problem, not the United States' problem.
If you cannot, work with your fellow neighbor, how are you to work with your own country, your own people? You have to worry about your people and your neighbor. But you have to make sure that you are able to work at home, take care of your own people, so then that way you can move on and help your neighbor.
Yep.
You cannot have one without the other. Otherwise, it's complete chaos. But again, I do want to thank you for tuning in tonight. I believe, is it your birthday coming up, Mike?
Yes, next week.
So Mike's birthday is coming up, which means we are going to have a special guest coming on so he can have a day off and enjoy his birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you want to stay tuned for that. And I do want to thank you for watching. If you do have any comments, please keep them coming in. We will get back to you even after we go off the air. And again, stay tuned. Coming up soon, we will be mentioning Dual Phoenix Live with Jason Brill when he is going to go live and on location. We'll announce that. So you want to stay tuned to that. And Maple Grove Haunters in East Canton, guys. You want to go to their Maple Grove. They're haunting this year. The proceeds are going to St. Jude's. That's something that's very special. So not only can you go take your family out and have it be for a good cause as well. Come back, watch again in the Know 4 o'clock next Sunday, and thus back on at 5. Stay tuned. Have a good night.